Captain Telerax of the Imperial scout vessel Luminous Apex stifled a yawn as her ship's AI processed another routine stellar scan. The Zaxtherian Empire's ongoing mission to map every habitable world in their sphere of influence was necessary work, but hardly exciting. 12 years of service, and she had yet to find anything more interesting than pre-industrial civilizations, barely worth noting in the Imperial Registry. The ship's chime interrupted her thoughts. "Captain, anomalous readings detected in System KX-291. The AI announced, its crystalline interface pulsing with newfound energy. Multiple artificial satellites detected. Electromagnetic emissions consistent with early spacefaring civilization." Telerax straightened in her command chair, her boredom evaporating. "Show me." The holographic display materialized before her, revealing a blue-green world wrapped in a web of artificial satellites. Radio waves, television broadcasts, and digital signals emanated from the planet's surface in a chaotic symphony of technological development. "Fascinating," she murmured, her four eyes widening as the data streamed in. "They've reached their moon, but haven't expanded further. Multiple nation-states, still burning fossil fuels, yet they've managed to create a global communication network." She smiled, knowing this discovery would at least make her quarterly report more interesting. Within hours, the Imperial Court was abuzz with excitement, not over the discovery itself, but over the sheer entertainment value it presented. The Grand Hall of Celestial Wisdom, with its towering crystal spires and quantum-locked floating platforms, hosted the full assembly of Imperial dignitaries for the first time in decades. Emperor Zaxthor XIV, his crystalline robes refracting light in complex patterns that denoted his supreme status, watched the presentation with growing amusement. The Imperial Science Ministry's AI compiled a comprehensive analysis of Earth's civilization, and each new detail seemed to elicit more laughter from the assembled nobles. "They still fight wars over primitive energy sources," one minister chortled, his translator crystal converting his native clicks and whistles into standard Imperial speech. "Look at their space vessels," another added, projecting an image of the International Space Station. "They're practically living in a tin can orbiting their world." The Emperor raised a hand, and the hall fell silent. His voice, enhanced by quantum resonators, filled the vast chamber. "What do they call themselves?" "Humans, your radiance," the science minister responded. "They named their world Earth." "Humans," the Emperor repeated, testing the word. "And they believe themselves to be alone in the universe." They debated endlessly, your radiance. Some believe, some doubt, but they have no concrete evidence of extraterrestrial life. Their scientific understanding is charmingly limited. The Emperor's expression shifted to one of delighted inspiration. "Then perhaps we should introduce ourselves. Not as conquerors, they're hardly worth the effort of conquest, but as benefactors. Yes, something unprecedented." He rose from his quantum-suspended throne, causing ripples of excited murmuring throughout the hall. "Let us offer them protectorate status," he declared, "not as a potential member state. They're centuries away from such consideration, but as our empire's first cultural preservation zone. We can observe their development, protect them from any external threats, and," he paused for effect, "be entertained by their charming attempts at advancement." The hall erupted in appreciative laughter and applause. The Emperor's chief communications officer stepped forward, bowing deeply. "Shall I prepare a message, your radiance?" "Yes, broadcast it across all their communication frequencies. Let them see what true civilization looks like. And make sure the translation is perfect. We wouldn't want to confuse their primitive minds." Hours later, every screen on Earth flickered to life with the same image. A being of impossible elegance, seated upon a throne that seemed to defy physics, speaking words that would change human history forever. "People of Earth," the Emperor's translated voice rang out, "rejoice. The Zaxtherian Empire extends its gracious protection to your world. You shall be preserved, studied, and most importantly, enjoyed." In that moment, as billions of humans stared at their screens in shock and disbelief, the Empire had no idea they had just sown the seeds of their own transformation. Their laughter would soon fade, but not for the reasons they could possibly imagine. The United Nations Security Council chamber had never been so quiet. On the central screen, the Emperor's message played one final time before fading to black. For 30 seconds, no one spoke. No pens scratched on paper. No phones buzzed. The only sound was the soft hum of air conditioning. Finally, the Secretary General broke the silence. "They expect us to be their zoo exhibit." Her voice carried no anger, only cold determination. "Their entertainment." She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each representative. "I believe we all understand what needs to be done." The Chinese delegate stood first. "The quantum computing facility in Guangzhou stands ready. Our best minds have already begun analyzing the transmission technology used in their broadcast. NASA and ESA have identified unusual gravitational fluctuations during their arrival," the American representative added. "Their ships didn't just appear, they bent space itself." Underneath the Swiss Alps, in a facility whose existence was denied by 6 different governments, the greatest minds on Earth gathered within 48 hours of the broadcast. Dr. Sarah Chen, quantum computing pioneer, stood before a holographic display of the Emperor's transmission data. "Their arrogance is their weakness," she declared, pointing to patterns in the signal. "They're not even bothering to encrypt their technological signatures. Every transmission, every appearance, leaves traces of their fundamental scientific principles." Dr. Vikram Patel, former head of India's space program, nodded in agreement. "They see us as primitives playing with rockets. They don't realize we've already theorized most of their basic principles. We just lacked proof and practical application methods." In Moscow, the Russian Academy of Sciences worked through the night, their supercomputers processing data from deep space monitoring stations. Dr. Anastasia Petrova's team made the first breakthrough, identifying the quantum signature of the Empire's faster-than-light technology. "It's elegant," she admitted, sharing her findings on the secure global network established within days of the Emperor's message, "but not unattainable. They're using principles similar to our quantum entanglement theories." The world watched as their new benefactors established observation posts in high orbit. These crystalline structures, beautiful in their alien geometry, monitored Earth's activities with presumed superiority. The Empire's sensors recorded business as usual: fossil fuel consumption, regional conflicts, typical primitive behavior. They didn't detect the massive facilities being constructed deep beneath the Antarctic ice. They missed the quantum encryption network spreading through the Internet's backbone. Their sensors, searching for radio signals and rocket exhaust, failed to notice the gravitational anomalies occurring in underground laboratories worldwide. In Brazil, Dr. João Santos published what appeared to be a theoretical paper on gravitational manipulation. To the Empire's observers, it was merely another example of humans playing with concepts beyond their understanding. They didn't realize it was already being successfully tested in practical applications. 3 months after the Emperor's message, the first test subject, a simple metal sphere, vanished from the Antarctic facility and reappeared 1 kilometer away, having bent space itself to traverse the distance. Dr. Chen wept at the success, while Dr. Patel began immediate preparations for scaling up the technology. The Empire's entertainment continued. Their broadcasts showed highlights of Earth's charming activities, annotated with condescending commentary. Each transmission was captured, analyzed, and mined for technological insights by Earth's quantum AI systems. 6 months in, during another Imperial Court session broadcasting their observations of Earth, a junior analyst noted something peculiar about human internet traffic patterns. The observation was dismissed by his superiors. After all, what could primitives achieve in their simple digital networks that could concern the Empire? They never noticed that Earth's responses to their messages had become precisely calculated. Every satellite malfunction, every failed rocket launch, Every continued demonstration of primitive technology was carefully choreographed. Humanity had learned the first rule of survival: let your enemy underestimate you. In the depths of the Antarctic facility, Dr. Chen stood before the prototype of humanity's first space-time displacement vessel. When they named us their entertainment, she said to the assembled team, they forgot something crucial about human nature. She smiled as the quantum core hummed to life. We've always enjoyed a good plot twist. Maya Patel sat in her dimly lit workspace at the Bangalore Institute of Technology, her fingers dancing across holographic keyboards as she probed the Empire's communication protocols. At 23, she was the youngest member of Earth's quantum encryption team, and she had just discovered something extraordinary. Dr. Chen, she called through the secure quantum link, her voice trembling with excitement. Their transmission protocols, they're not just carrying messages. Each signal contains a complete blueprint of their communication technology. In the Antarctic facility, Sarah Chen's eyes widened as Maya's data streamed across her display. They're so confident in their superiority, they never considered that we could decode the quantum signature of their transmissions themselves. Maya, you're a genius. The breakthrough sparked a cascade of innovations. In underground facilities across the globe, humanity's hidden revolution accelerated. The Empire's regular entertainment broadcasts, meant to showcase Earth's primitive nature, became a treasure trove of technological insights. At the Geneva Quantum Research Center, Dr. Marcus Schmidt made the next crucial discovery. Their faster-than-light drives don't just bend space, he explained to the Global Research Network. They create quantum tunnels through subspace, and thanks to Maya's decryption, we now know exactly how they generate the field harmonics. The Empire's observation posts recorded normal activity, commercial satellite launches, space station resupply missions, and the occasional military spacecraft. Their sensors never detected the quantum tunneling experiments occurring in carefully shielded underground chambers. Earth's apparent struggles with basic rocket technology amused the Imperial Court, while humanity perfected technology that would soon surpass their own. In the Atacama Desert, a vast array of quantum sensors came online, disguised as a new radio telescope installation. Dr. Isabella Torres, leading the project, used it to map the quantum wake signatures of Imperial ships. Every vessel leaves a trace, she reported. Like fingerprints in the fabric of space-time. We can track them, predict their movements, and most importantly, learn to avoid their detection. The Empire's entertainment broadcasts continued, now featuring comedic commentary on Earth's quaint attempts at advancing their space technology. A failed satellite launch drew particular amusement from the Imperial Court. They never realized the failure was orchestrated, concealing the successful deployment of quantum communication relays in the debris field. 1 year after the Emperor's message, humanity's first quantum drive vessel was ready for testing. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Chen and her international team gathered around the sleek craft, its hull incorporating crystalline structures reverse-engineered from Imperial technology. They think we're still playing with chemical rockets, Dr. Patel said, running his hand along the ship's quantum resonant surface, while we've learned to dance between the dimensions. The test flight was disguised as a natural magnetic anomaly in Earth's ionosphere. The Empire's sensors registered a brief disturbance, but their analysts dismissed it as a solar phenomenon. They didn't notice the vessel that slipped between the quantum fields, traveling from Antarctica to lunar orbit in less than 3 seconds. Maya, now stationed at the Antarctic facility, monitored the quantum encryption protocols she had developed. We're completely invisible to their detection systems, she reported as the test ship returned. They literally cannot see what they don't believe possible. In orbit, the Empire's observation posts continued their routine monitoring, their crews occasionally sharing jokes about the primitive species below. They never noticed the quantum shadows passing nearby, as humanity tested their new vessels with increasing confidence. During another Imperial Court session, as the Emperor entertained his nobles with Earth's latest technological fumbling, Dr. Chen addressed the global quantum network. "We're ready for the next phase," she announced. "The Empire believes they're watching a documentary about primitive life. They don't realize they're about to become part of a very different story." In the Antarctic hangar, now home to a growing fleet of quantum dry ships, Maya smiled as she activated the final encryption protocols. "Let them laugh," she whispered. "The best surprises come from the most unexpected places." Imperial Monitor Station K789 hung in space like a perfect crystalline snowflake, its quantum sensors scanning the trade routes between three major systems. Commander Vextrol prowled the command deck, four eyes scanning the routine reports with practiced boredom. In 6 cycles of service, nothing interesting had ever happened at this backwater posting. The station's quantum core hiccuped. Vextrol froze, all four eyes focusing on the diagnostic display. For a fraction of a second, the quantum field maintaining the station's power grid had shifted. Not failed, not fluctuated, but shifted, as if reality itself had briefly forgotten where the station's power supply should be. "Engineering, report," he commanded, trying to keep the unease from his voice. No response. "Engineering, acknowledge," he repeated, mandibles clicking with irritation. The command deck's doors slid open with a soft hiss. Empty corridor beyond. But he could have sworn he heard footsteps. Within 12 hours, K789 went dark. The Imperial security fleet arrived to find the station completely intact, but entirely empty. No signs of struggle, no weapon discharge, no hull breaches. Even the quantum core hummed along perfectly, just without any crew to monitor it. "Impossible," Admiral Zexcon declared, reviewing the preliminary reports aboard his flagship. 63 crew members don't simply vanish. Check the quantum signature logs. "Sir," his aide responded nervously. "According to the logs, nothing unusual occurred." "There's a small power fluctuation, then." The crew's quantum signatures simply ceased to exist on the station. No transport signatures, no escape pods launched. They're just gone. The Admiral was composing his report to the Imperial Court when word arrived. Monitoring Station L445 had gone silent in exactly the same manner. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor's chief scientific advisor, Dr. Yixtal, compiled the data from both incidents. Her presentation to the Emergency Council painted a disturbing picture. "The quantum field disruptions at both stations follow a pattern we've never encountered," she explained, her holographic displays showing overlapping wave functions. "It's as if something, or someone, has learned to manipulate subspace in ways our sensors can't track." "Preposterous," General Caxthor interrupted. "No known civilization in the Empire's sphere has such capabilities. Our quantum technology is unmatched." Dr. Yixtal's mandibles twitched in annoyance. "Then explain this." She brought up a new display. Solar observation data from the Earth system shows similar quantum fluctuations in their orbital space. They lasted microseconds, barely noticeable against background radiation. But they match the pattern from our missing stations perfectly. Laughter erupted from the assembled officials. "The humans," General Caxthor scoffed. "They can barely reach their own moon. Their latest satellite launch exploded last week." "That's exactly my concern," Dr. Yixtal pressed. "Their failures seem too consistent, too perfect in their imperfection. I've analyzed their failed launches. The debris patterns, the trajectories, they're mathematically precise in their apparent chaos." The Emperor's entertainment minister chuckled. "Doctor, you're seeing phantoms in quantum noise. Just yesterday, I broadcasted their charming attempts to improve their primitive combustion engines. They're centuries away from understanding basic quantum mechanics." But doubt had crept into Dr. Yixtal's mind. She accessed the Earth observation feeds, looking not at the obvious activities on the surface, but at the quantum background noise. Patterns emerge, subtle, complex, and deeply troubling. "My Emperor," she addressed the throne directly, "protocol be damned. I request permission to increase quantum monitoring of the Earth system. Something isn't adding up." The Emperor waved a dismissive hand. If it eases your mind, Doctor, but don't waste too many resources. Our entertainment schedule has wonderful new content planned. They're attempting to launch another space station module next week. The betting pools are already taking wagers on how spectacularly it will fail. As the council chambers emptied, Dr. Yixtal remained, staring at the quantum field data. In the background noise, barely visible among the fluctuations, she could swear she saw a pattern that looked almost like a smile. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembled leaders in the Antarctic Command Center, her holographic display showing a fleet of sleek vessels emerging from their underground hangars. 3 years of preparation had led to this moment. The Empire expects another failed satellite launch today, she began, a slight smile playing at her lips. Instead, they're going to learn the cost of underestimating humanity. Maya Patel, now Chief of Quantum Operations, brought up the tactical display. Our quantum masking is perfect. 20 ships, each capable of manipulating space-time in ways the Empire never imagined. They literally cannot see us until we want to be seen. In high orbit, Imperial Observation Post T-117 recorded the launch preparations below. Commander Rixtal yawned as he composed his daily entertainment report. Humans attempting another primitive satellite deployment. Calculating odds of spectacular failure for Imperial betting pools. His report remained unfinished. The quantum field surrounding the observation post shifted subtly. Reality flickered. Commander Rixtal found himself staring at a human woman standing on his command deck, Dr. Chen, though he didn't know her name. "Greetings," she said simply, her words translated by advanced quantum tech. "We thought it was time for a proper introduction." Before the commander could respond, his sensors erupted with alerts. 20 vessels of unknown configuration had appeared from nowhere, surrounding the observation post in a perfect geometric formation. Their design was unlike anything in Imperial records, smooth surfaces that seemed to bend light itself, hulls incorporating crystalline structures that made them look almost alive. "Impossible," Rixtal whispered. "Impossible." Dr. Chen raised an eyebrow. "You've been watching us develop quantum physics theories for 3 years. Did you think we were just theorizing for fun?" Throughout the Earth system, other observation posts reported similar visitations. Humanity's quantum fleet revealed itself simultaneously across thousands of kilometers of space, demonstrating coordination that should have been impossible for a primitive species. In the Imperial Palace, Dr. Yixtal burst into the Emperor's private chambers, breaking every protocol. "My Emperor, the humans, they've mastered quantum field manipulation beyond our understanding. Their ships, they're not just invisible to our sensors. They're manipulating the fundamental forces of reality." The Emperor's entertainment feeds showed him the truth. Human vessels phasing through solid matter, as if it didn't exist. Ships appearing and disappearing at will, dancing between dimensions in ways that made his most advanced fleet look primitive by comparison. In the Antarctic Command Center, Maya's quantum network tracked the Empire's panicked communications. "They're trying to adapt their sensors," she reported. "But they can't. Their entire quantum detection network is based on principles we've already surpassed." Dr. Vikram Patel, now fleet commander, brought up a tactical overlay. "Their nearest rapid response force is 3 systems away. They're accelerating to quantum jump velocity, but," he smiled, "they still think faster than light travel requires acceleration." "How?" "Primitive." Aboard observation post T-117, Dr. Chen watched Commander Rixtal struggle to comprehend what he was seeing. "You know what your Empire's greatest mistake was?" she asked conversationally. Not the mockery, not the condescension. It was assuming that a species' past dictates their future. She gestured and a holographic display appeared, showing humanity's quantum technology development over the past 3 years. "While you were laughing at our rocket failures, we were reverse engineering your broadcasts. While you mocked our satellite launches, we were perfecting quantum field manipulation. Every failure you celebrated was carefully orchestrated to maintain your illusion of superiority." Outside the observation post's windows, Earth's quantum fleet performed maneuvers that defied Imperial physics. Ships split into multiple quantum states, existing in several places simultaneously. Others created localized time distortions, moving through space in ways that made Einstein's theories look like simple arithmetic. "So," Dr. Chen concluded, "would you like to contact your emperor? I believe it's time we renegotiated Earth's status in the galaxy. Unless, of course, you still find us too primitive to take seriously." Commander Rickstall's response was lost in the sound of his empire's assumptions shattering like crystal. The Imperial War Council chamber crackled with tension as Admiral Zexicon presented his strategy. "Operation Final Word will demonstrate our true might," he declared, showcasing holographic projections of the massive fleet assembling near the Empire's core systems. 5,000 warships, our most advanced quantum weaponry. We'll remind these upstart humans of their proper place. Dr. Rickstall, newly appointed as Emergency Scientific Advisor, cleared her throat. "Admiral, I must advise against this. The humans' quantum technology operates on principles we barely understand. Their ships don't just evade our sensors. They manipulate reality itself. Numbers and firepower will prevail," General Caxthor interrupted. "Even if we can't track them perfectly, saturating entire sectors with quantum torpedoes will ensure hits." In Earth's Antarctic Command Center, Maya Patel watched the Empire's fleet preparations through their quantum surveillance network. "They're really going to do it," she mused, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "They're so convinced of their superiority that they're ignoring all evidence to the contrary." Dr. Chen nodded, studying the tactical displays. "Pride is a dangerous thing. Their entire society is built on the assumption of their technological supremacy. Accepting that we've surpassed them would shatter their worldview." The Imperial fleet emerged from quantum space in a dazzling display of power, their crystalline ships arranging themselves in attack formations designed to intimidate. Admiral Zexicon's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Primitive humans, witness the true might of the Empire. Surrender now and return to your assigned status, or face annihilation." Humanity's response came in the form of a quiet whisper, transmitted directly into the Admiral's private quantum-encrypted command channel. A channel that should have been impenetrable. "You still don't understand what you're facing, do you?" Maya's voice was almost gentle. "Let us demonstrate." The Imperial fleet's quantum targeting systems went dark. Not jammed, not hacked, but simply rendered irrelevant as human ships shifted into quantum states that existed between moments of time. Dr. Chen's voice joined Maya's on the command channel. "Your weapons can't hit what exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously." Admiral Zexicon watched in horror as human vessels phased through his fleet's strongest shields as if they were mist. Each Earth ship seemed to split into multiple quantum echoes, existing in several places at once, making targeting impossible even with manual controls. "All ships, open fire," he commanded. "Saturate all sectors." The space around Earth's fleet erupted with quantum torpedoes and energy weapons, but the humans had already revolutionized warfare itself. Their ships created localized time distortions, causing the Imperial weapons to arrive at locations their targets had never been, or hadn't been yet, or had always been, but in a different quantum state. In the Antarctic Command Center, Fleet Commander Patel directed the response. "Precision strikes only," he ordered. "Disable their weapons and propulsion without casualties. We're here to end their arrogance, not their lives." Human ships danced through the Imperial formation, their quantum field technology allowing them to selectively phase through hull plating, while leaving crew compartments untouched. Critical systems went dark, as Earth's forces demonstrated a level of control over quantum mechanics that made the Empire's technology look crude by comparison. Impossible. Admiral Zexicon raged as his flagship's systems shut down one by one. "We are the most advanced civilization in known space. We have ruled the quantum realm for millennia." Dr. Chen's voice returned to his command channel, accompanied by a holographic projection of her standing calmly on his bridge. Advanced. By whose standards? While you stagnated, convinced of your superiority, we evolved. Every mockery, every condescending broadcast, every dismissal of our potential just motivated us to push further. She gestured, and the Admiral's tactical displays showed the true extent of his fleet's defeat. 3/4 of his ships had been disabled without a single casualty. The remaining quarter were trapped in quantum bubbles that made time flow like honey. The question now, Dr. Chen concluded, is whether your empire can evolve too, or will pride be your final weakness? The Admiral's only response was stunned silence as he watched his mighty fleet hanging helpless in space, outmaneuvered by those he had considered primitive merely days before. The Imperial Palace's quantum shields rippled as Earth's fleet emerged from dimensional shift. The crystalline spires of the capital glittered beneath them, their beauty undimmed by the fear now gripping the Empire's heart. In the Grand Throne Room, Emperor Zaxthor XIV watched the approach with an expression caught between rage and disbelief. Dr. Sarah Chen's hologram materialized before the Imperial throne, her presence bypassing security systems the Empire had thought impenetrable. Behind her, Maya Patel's quantum networks had already accessed every communication system in the capital. "Your entertainment program is about to begin," Chen announced, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's victory. "But this time, we're choosing the content." Throughout the Empire's 1,000 worlds, every quantum display came to life. Maya's algorithms had bypassed the Imperial censors, ensuring that every citizen, from the highest noble to the humblest worker, would witness what came next. For 3 years, Chen continued, her words translated perfectly into every Imperial dialect. "You watched us through your observation posts. Now, see what you missed." The displays showed a different story than the Empire's carefully curated entertainment broadcasts. They revealed humanity's quantum laboratories, their breakthroughs, their unified purpose. More importantly, they showed the Empire's own technological stagnation. "Your civilization's greatest flaw wasn't your arrogance," Chen explained, while Imperial citizens watched in fascination. "It was your assumption that technology only develops in one direction, following a single path. You became so convinced of your superiority that you stopped looking for alternatives." Dr. Dixtel stepped forward, breaking Imperial protocol. "She's right, my Emperor. Their approach to quantum mechanics, it's revolutionary. They didn't follow our development path. They created their own, and in doing so, discovered principles we never imagined." Through the Empire's quantum network, Maya broadcast evidence of their technological breakthrough. "We didn't just reverse engineer your technology," her voice added to Chen's. "We reinvented it. While you saw us struggling with rockets, we were exploring quantum dimensions your sensors couldn't detect. Every failure you mocked was a carefully crafted deception." On 1,000 worlds, Imperial citizens watched their assumptions crumble. The humans weren't primitive. They had simply chosen a different path, and in their creativity, they had surpassed the Empire's understanding of the universe itself. Fleet Commander Patel's voice joined the broadcast. "We could have used this technology for conquest. Instead, we're offering something more valuable. Perspective." The Emperor rose from his throne, his crystalline robes shimmering with barely contained fury. "You dare lecture us? We have ruled the quantum realm for millennia. Have you ruled it?" Chen's hologram asked softly, "Or has it ruled you? Your society became so rigid, so certain of its path, that it forgot the most fundamental law of the universe. There is always more to learn." Through the quantum network, images flowed of human children in schools, scientists collaborating across borders, ideas flowing freely between minds and cultures. "Our strength isn't in our technology," Maya explained. "It's in our diversity of thought, our willingness to question, to fail, to try new approaches." The display shifted to show Earth's quantum fleet, their ships incorporating designs that merged human creativity with principles the Empire had never considered. "You saw our rockets and laughed," Chen continued. You should have asked why a species would persist with such primitive technology when they were already grasping quantum mechanics. Dr. Yixtal's mandibles clicked in sudden understanding. The rockets weren't the goal, she breathed. They were a cover. Every launch failure, every primitive attempt, they were perfecting their deception while developing something far beyond our understanding. The Emperor sank back onto his throne as the truth became undeniable. Throughout his empire, centuries of assumptions were being rewritten. The species they had mocked had not only matched their technology, but had transcended it, finding paths through quantum science that the Empire had never imagined possible. So, Chen concluded, her hologram standing firm before the imperial throne. Shall we discuss the future? Not as entertainment and audience, but as equals, each with something to teach and much to learn. One solar cycle after humanity's revelation, the imperial palace hosted a very different gathering. The crystalline throne room, once a symbol of absolute power, had been transformed. The emperor's quantum-suspended throne now rested on the same level as the seats of Earth's representatives. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembled delegates from both civilizations, her presence no longer a hologram but real and immediate. Behind her, a quantum display showed the construction of the first joint research institute, where human and imperial scientists would work together. A year ago, you wanted us as your entertainment, she began, addressing the emperor directly. Today, we offer something far more valuable: partnership. Maya Patel, seated among the Earth delegation, brought up a new display showing the quantum mathematics behind their revolutionary approach. Around the room, imperial scientists leaned forward, their eyes widening as they grasped the elegant simplicity of human innovation. Your civilization mastered quantum mechanics through rigid advancement, Maya explained. We approached it through creativity and theoretical exploration. Both paths have value. Together, they could open doors neither of us imagined possible. Dr. Yixtal, now head of the Empire's Scientific Renaissance Committee, stepped forward. The humans have shown us that progress isn't linear. Their primitive rocket programs concealed quantum research that approached problems from angles we never considered. Their greatest achievement wasn't surpassing our technology. It was showing us our own limitations. The Emperor rose, his crystalline robes now incorporating elements of human design. A symbolic gesture of change. We offered Earth protection, he acknowledged, mandibles clicking in what humans now recognized as wry amusement. Instead, they protected us from our own stagnation. Across the Empire, the changes were already visible. Imperial ships now incorporated human quantum innovations, while Earth's fleet adopted the elegant crystalline aesthetics of imperial design. But the real revolution was cultural. Imperial universities opened their doors to human teachers, eager to learn not just technology, but the creative thinking that had allowed humanity to make such leaps. Human institutions welcomed imperial scholars, combining thousands of years of quantum experience with fresh perspectives. Fleet Commander Patel, standing beside his former adversary Admiral Zexcon, activated a holographic display showing the newly established Galactic Scientific Coalition. Our ships once faced each other in battle, he noted. Now they explore together, each crew learning from the other's approach. The Empire's greatest fear was appearing weak, Dr. Chen continued. But there is no weakness in learning, no shame in admitting that another perspective has value. True strength lies in the ability to adapt, to grow, to see beyond our own assumptions. The quantum display shifted to show Earth, no longer surrounded by imperial observation posts, but by joint research stations. The planet's surface glittered with the combined achievements of both civilizations: crystalline structures housing human innovations, human cities incorporating imperial quantum engineering. Entertainment is passive, Maya added, her quantum networks now linked seamlessly with imperial systems. Partnership is active. Every day we learn from each other. Every day we discover new possibilities that neither civilization could have found alone. The Emperor raised his hand, and the quantum field rippled with a new kind of transmission. a message to every world in both civilizations. Let history record, he declared, that the Empire's greatest moment wasn't in conquest or dominion, but in learning to see worth in those we once dismissed. The humans didn't defeat us. They awakened us. Dr. Chen smiled, remembering that first condescending broadcast 3 years ago. And let Earth's history record that our greatest achievement wasn't in proving our superiority, but in showing that true advancement comes from collaboration, not competition. As the delegates dispersed, Maya caught Dr. Chen's eye. They wanted to watch humanity's story, she mused. They never expected to become part of it. The best stories, Chen replied, watching human and imperial scientists deep in discussion, are the ones that change both the audience and the performers. In trying to make us their entertainment, they wrote themselves into a better future than either of us could have imagined alone. Above them, through the palace's quantum crystal dome, Earth's ships danced with imperial vessels in the eternal night, their combined technologies painting new constellations across the stars.